The Girl with Seven Names by Hyeonseo Lee. I stumbled across this book after just a few searches about North Korea, trying to find documentaries, and stumbled across this book about a North Korea defector. Now, we all know that North Korea is oppressive. We see it on the news all the time. It's kind of a big joke. A lot of what we hear about them just sounds over the top. How could a nation of people be totally fooled into thinking all the propaganda that their leaders put out is true? But this book is especially unique because it's from the perspective of a girl who grew up in North Korea under the oppressive regime, being conditioned from a very young age at school on the one TV channel that they have, constantly being spoon-fed this propaganda to the point where they start to believe it. This book outlines how they tend to control every aspect of the person's life, their home they live in, their view of the outside world, and often will even dictate their life's course. Tiny little details that she brings out about the government kind of surprised me, like the fact that every house has a picture of the great leader in it. It's just crazy to hear on how that picture is cared for by the family, even provided a special cloth that can only clean that picture, even to the point where they'll come in and inspect the picture to make sure that it's properly cared for. If the house burns down and nobody saves the picture and the house burns with the picture, then the whole family is punished because of that. So really the whole country is walking on eggshells. So the author really outlines her life growing up in that condition, describes her outlook, but also that she's very curious of the outside world. Living right on the edge of the border between North Korea and China, she gets glimpses of their TV channels, and just before she turns 18, decides that she is going to risk crossing the border just to check it out, just to see what it's like. Is it really as bad as the leaders say? Not that she wasn't happy in North Korea, but because she was about to turn 18, it would be the only time that she could do it without being severely punished. Originally, she had only intended to cross for just a few days, but for whatever reason, she wasn't able to cross back. That's all outlined in the book. And again, very young, I think she was 17. And from that point on, she never again returned, leaving her whole family behind. And to cross the border wasn't really that hard. It's just a tiny little river that was patrolled. But if you were caught, it was a big deal. Now, once she was in China, it was a very eye-opening experience. Not quite as harsh of an environment as she thought it would be, or as she was told it was. But then, because she wasn't able to get back into North Korea, she was then living as a refugee. Now, just because she was in China doesn't necessarily mean she was safe. The Chinese regularly would hunt down North Korea defectors, only to be shipped back to North Korea, in which case they would be seriously punished. Now, the other thing was, if you did defect from North Korea, 3 generations of your family would be imprisoned and punished because of your actions, because you were now a traitor. And on that note, actually, even if you were to commit suicide, your family would also be punished because they were punishing that last act of defiance. I don't want to really give anything else away. The book itself is a real nail-biter. The only problem I have is that it felt like she was almost rushing a little bit through her story. The book could easily have been twice the length, but it really does a good job of getting across the point that people in North Korea and a lot of the surrounding countries are actually treated very much as commodities and are basically just managed in that way. And obviously the title, The Girl with Seven Names, refers to her aliases that she used when she was making her way through China and other countries trying to get to somewhere safe where she didn't have to always be on the run or in hiding. Check it out. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will talk to you next time.